Hi, and welcome back to Build Your First Systems. Finally back. I think it's been about a month. So definitely didn't want that time to go by, but sometimes, life just be lifing, right? So welcome back. Today we're going to talk about your team isn't the problem, your expectations are. The first video we talked about the moment you stop being able to wing it in business, and then we also talked about it's not if it's not written down, then your team would get this wrong. All right, so your team isn't the problem, your expectations are. So we're going to jump right into it. So some of the common misdiagnoses founders and startups or small business owners may have, you may think, oh, they should know it already, right? They should know it. I already explain this. A lot of times we have to explain things more than once when we don't necessarily have any thing written down or anything structured around what our team should be doing, even if you only have one person on your team, right? Why do I keep repeating myself? Because a lot of things wind up staying in your head. That is the goal of Build Your First Systems. They help you get it out of your head. So these are some common misdiagnoses that founders would say to themselves. They may not say it out loud, but you may say it to yourself. So, but explanation does not equal expectation. All right. So you can explain something over and over again, but if the expectations are not laid out in clear communications, then that just winds up staying an explanation and not truly defining what the expectations are that you would like to see happen in your business when it comes to your team helping you grow your business and help you operate your business. Hearing something once isn't equal to owning it. So yes, your team member, your employee, your contractor can hear something once. They can kind of run with it a little bit and then maybe get off track, but that doesn't mean that they're owning it. All right. It doesn't mean that they're owning the job that you have entrusted in them, right? And while they're working with you. So hearing it, even once or twice, even repeatedly sometimes it can happen. It still does not mean that they're owning it. They're not owning the job. So that's where we want to get to, right? So these are just a few of the common misdiagnoses that I've noticed, among founders and startups over the years that I've supported entrepreneurs, small and mid-sized business owners over the years. So founders say those things to themselves, so it wind up being a common misdiagnosis. So what expectations stay unspoken? Okay, why expectation stay unspoken? So sometimes founders assume expectations are obvious. Expectations are only obvious when they've actually been expressed. When they've actually been expressed, written down, communicated more than one time, making sure that it's clear to the person that you are expressing those expectations to, right? People will ask if unsure, all right? So founders assume people will ask if unsure. Well, a lot of times, especially if you have a new employee, a new team member, they're trying to, weigh out what is really happening, where they actually fit in, what questions should be asked, or if they ask, will they be looked at upon as the, okay, so you really don't have what you said that you have when you came to the table. No, that just mean they just need to probably have clarity about something that is happening, especially someone that's new on your team may not be, have the rhythm yet, right? Have the rhythm of how you operate your business yet, depending on the time frame that they've been on your team. So they may not ask that question if they're unsure about something because they don't want it to necessarily be look as a negative toward them. And then founders avoid writing expectations. A few reasons why I've seen founders avoid writing expectation because it feels awkward. All right. It feels awkward. It feels controlling. And really writing expectations out is really not about controlling, is about defining and bringing clarity around the expectations or what you expect for that employee or team member to actually get accomplished, right? So sometimes it feels a little awkward, sometimes it feels a little controlling, and then they don't want to sound rigid. Again, creating your standard operating procedures or creating some type of processes and guidelines is not about being rigid, it's about being more efficient, right? It's about being more efficient so you can get more done, in certain time frames. So expectations stay in the founder's head. That's why I'm here. Build your first systems. Get it out of your head. Get it out of your head So your team will know what to do, right? So your team will know what to do when you're actually, not in the office, and your office may be virtual. All right. Your office may be at home or in a co-working space, or whatever your office, whatever represents your office. When you have to be out of the office and away, maybe you have to go out of town for a trip or vacation, or maybe it's a business trip and your team is in a certain place, even if they're virtual too. But your expectations cannot stay in your head. So that's the goal of build your first system. Let's get it out of your head. Why founders feel more frustrated? What unclear expectations can cause? These are some of the things that unclear expectations, uncommunicated, unwritten expectations can cause for you as you grow in your business. A lot of rework, because there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of misunderstandings, or there's not a lot of clarity going on with what your team members or employees are doing. So there's rework. There can be resentment. There can be resentment that may be in you as the founder, as the business owner, or it could be resentment from your employee or team member who, really maybe sound a little confused or frustrated about what's happening, because the things that they really need to be successful, to be a successful employee for you, is not being met. Okay. Passive frustration on you as a founder and a business owner, passive frustration on behalf of your team member or employee. And the reason why I said those two words, team member or employee, because some people still use the word employee, some people use team member, same thing, right? But I like to, make sure that I say both of them and what you relate to, right? So to be passive frustration, tension on both sides, definitely. So founders feel more frustrated, and unclear expectations causes this. So that's what I want to help you not be so frustrated. Get clarity, get those expectations out of your head, get those processes and procedures out of your head so things can be clear. Of course, things can be tweaked along the way, right? And I'm going to be sharing with you in the comments, in the summary below, that you can join our Skool community, build your first systems, and we're building processes and procedures over there together. I've dropped a tool in there, a resource in there that'll help it so much easier. So if you're interested, click on the Skool link in the summary, in the summary of this video, and would love to have you over there. So what's the reframe? Expectations are not about control, they're about fairness. All right. So fairness means people know what success looks like, how decisions are judged, okay, how decisions that your employee or team member is making, the decisions that you're making along with your team, how they're going to be judged, how their performance is going to be judged, all those kinds of things. What matters most? What are those priorities in your business is going to help it continue to move forward and expand and scale, right? So again, fairness means people know what success looks like, how decisions are judged, and what matters most. And then clarity protects relationships. The more clarity that is provided, the more people are clear about what it is that they're doing and what your expectations are. That protects the relationship between you and the individuals that you've brought on to help you build and scale and expand your business. And then clarity removes guessing. The more clarity, the more clear things are, the less guessing, the less guesswork is involved. Will questions still have to be asked? Of course, because things are always changing in your business, and questions have to be answered, right? And things still have to be have clarity to them and be clear. So I want you to think of it this way. You explain expectations as what good work looks like. So what does good work look like? What does great performance look like for you? And then, your employee, your team members need to know that as well. So they'll know what the standard is, what the expectation is, what you want to see from them. All right. What matters more than speed? What are those top priorities? What really matters in your business versus speed? Because a lot of times we can speed things up and really be doing things more quickly probably than they should be, then that way, details are missed when you're speeding things up. But point out to your team and to your team what matters most and what matters more than speed. What someone owns without reminders, what ownership have you given your team, right? What ownership have you given the people that are on your payroll, if you will, that's helping you to actually grow and expand your team? Have you given them the job description? Have you given them the process that's written down or in video or however you are capturing that information to get out of your head, right? So who owns what? Be clear about who owns what, and then how issues are raised. Again, this is how I want you. These are some ways I want you to think about. You explain expectations. Okay, when you explain expectation, this is what you're looking. This is what you're looking for. This is kind of your guideline of what those expectations look like. So how issues are raised. So again, you explain expectations as what good work looks like. All right, what matters more than speed, what someone owns without reminders, and then how issues are raised. So it's just another way to think about how you're going to get it done, right? So let's wrap up. So in the first video, again, we talked about why things break when nothing is written down. In the second one, we talked about the stage where winging it stops working. And then this one, this is usually the first thing that needs clarity, the expectations of it all. All right. So go back and watch those. If this is the first time you've seen one of the videos, we got 3 videos up now. Again, I apologize that it's been a month since the last video. So now we're catching back up, and I hope these first 3 videos kind of get you to thinking about getting those things out of your head and creating more efficiency. And just like, of course, we got technology, we have AI. I have an AI resource inside of the Skool community that makes it so much easier for you to do this. So again, I invite you to click on the Skool community link below and the summary and the transcription of this video. And I will see you next time. I am your host, Delmar Johnson, and see you next time on Build Your First Systems. Bye-bye. Mm-hmm. Okay. And let's see.